I have a question for you. Are you ready to start confidently asking for what you want? Are you ready to start confidently believing what you are worth? Today, we are talking about raising your prices. We are talking about asking for what you want, and we're talking about why this is important. So, I'm going to go through why women in business traditionally don't raise their prices. I'm going to go through why you actually need to raise your prices that you're probably not thinking about. And then, of course, how you can raise your prices in an ethical and sustainable way. So, welcome to the Mom Founders Table podcast. Let's get into it. So, I want to start this off by saying that a lot of people wouldn't be as bold to just come out and say this, but I will. A lot of the wealth that I've created, a lot of the money that I've been able to make is because I charge high ticket prices. And people want to skirt around that subject, and that's part of the problem. But at the end of the day, the way that you make more money is you do one of two things or both. You either work more or you charge more, or you work more and you charge more. There's literally no other equation that works. It's simple math. And so while there is strategy, tactics, energetics, mindset work, development in all area that is necessary for growth, for monetary growth, all of those things fold into monetary growth being sustained. Because there's a difference in just raising your prices to raise your prices with the intention of making more money and not having the knowledge, skill set, or craft or belief to be able to sustain that. And that's why all of these things are at play. And that's why all of these things are addressed with my clients as well. But there's no shame in just saying, I make more because I charge more. And I think a lot of people are afraid to say that because as women, we want to be so accessible to everybody, but usually that accessibility is coming at the expense of ourselves. And so that's why I want to start out today by talking about why women typically don't raise their prices and why this is a problem. So we keep our prices the same and we don't raise them typically for a few reasons. The first reason being we're afraid of being rejected. All of us have received at some point in our business, somebody said we were too expensive. And it's very easy to live with the idea of if I charge less, I can serve more people. And that's a lie, because even if you can serve more people because you create something that is more accessible, at a certain point, your quality does start to suffer. And this is something that I realized in my own business because I have had many different businesses with many different business models, right? So we have the cookie company that is product based, that is a quantity based model. In my beginning days in my fitness group, right, I had groups and I had clients, and at one point I had a roster of 60 clients. And I realized that the level that I prefer to serve to, where I serve best, is a deeper level. And so because of the standard that I hold for myself at this point in my business and my life, I don't see a way that when I partner with people, that it is anything that takes away from that depth. Meaning that I'm not going to have 100 private clients or 100 people in my mastermind. That could be a limiting belief on my part, right? And that could change, but everything can change in business. And that's just something we need to know. But at the end of the day, we don't change our prices because we are afraid of being rejected. As people, what we want is we want people to say yes. We want people to like us. And that fear of rejection keeps us small and keeps us in a place to where we're trying to be whoever everybody else wants us to be. The next reason that a lot of people won't raise their prices is they feel an immense fear that is also called imposter syndrome. They feel like they're not worthy of charging that much. Who am I to have a high ticket price? Who am I to serve that level or that clientele that is more established? Who am I to have that, type of clientele or deal with people in that industry or have a package that includes that? And those sorts of thoughts that tell you that you're not enough yet are the thoughts that also keep you smaller for a longer period of time, because it's this idea that once you check a certain box, then you will be able to do that thing. I also want to say that there is a level here of imposter syndrome that can be true. And I say that with love and with kindness because as I have grown in my own career, every single leap that I've made was not just built by my belief in myself of being able to take that leap. It also was like, okay, well, what skill set or knowledge gaps are here that I need to train or get education or read or develop so that I can feel confident and comfortable in that I'm providing advisory that is correct, that is from experience. And so I think that anytime we're feeling imposter syndrome, it's smart for us to recognize, is there an actual gap here or is it just my worthiness? Another reason why women don't raise their prices is just our conditioning from our culture and our society. I see this a lot with my clients that are minority business owners, to where maybe it's things that they've been told about, like, because of the color of your skin, you will have to work harder. That is something that one of my clients, her parents actually said to her. And so there is a level of cultural conditioning that from societal expectations, we prioritize nurturing people and over delivering instead of being ambitious and bold and assertive, because we are afraid that if we are that people won't like us, and then it runs into, again, the fear of rejection. And again, all of these things are connected, but really, this fear of rejection, the imposter syndrome, the conditioning that we have as women, or if you are a woman of color, that's very real. That's things that people feel that have been, that they might have some data to support, whether that data is, things from caregivers or parents, or even things that have been verbalized to them from other people they've done business with. And so in that, the last thing that really keeps people stuck and not raising their prices is this constant need for external validation and approval from people. As businesses, it's difficult because there is this balance of needing to do the work that somebody hires you for while also not sacrificing your integrity or your values. And so it's very easy to sacrifice yourself and to do things you don't necessarily want to do or that aren't aligned with who you are, because you want to do whatever it takes to keep that business. At the end of the day, if you're a business, you need clients, you need customers, you need sales. And so it's very tempting to alter who you are in order to get those sales, but we don't have to do that. So here's why we really need to raise our prices and why this matters. You need to reflect your full value in your pricing. And this means when you're pricing things, you aren't just looking at the amount of time that you're going to spend on that project or with that client. You're also considering the years of experience, the education, everything that gets rolled into that. When I show up to coach a client on a call for an hour, I'm not charging for that hour. I'm charging for 12 years of entrepreneurship experience inside multiple businesses of my own and multiple businesses with, at this point, probably close to thousands of women in different industries. Not to mention every class I've taken, every mentor I've hired, every book that I've read. Like, my brain is very full of a lot of wisdom, which is why people hire me, because I can get them where they want to go faster because I have that. And so you need to understand the importance of matching your pricing to all of that instead of just looking at your service as a standalone. The other reason why it matters for us to raise our prices, there's really three more reasons that I want to touch on. One is sustainability. So if you've been around here long enough, you know that I'm always touching on sustainability and longevity. The longer that I stay in business, the longer that I stay in business. And the more that I realize the things that are of highest priority in business are connected to doing the things that keep you in business. It's really nice to feel like the instant gratification and the quick wins and things like that. But at the end of the day, you can make $1 million in a year, or you can make, $500,000 a year over 10 years. And which is going to be better? Right? And I'm not saying it has to be one or the other, but I'm just putting that in perspective for you, to where we really need to make sure that we're thinking about, can we sustain the way that we're operating? Most of the clients that come to me are at like this crossroads where they've been in business and they recognize whether it's their goal is to go further and higher, or their goal is to like sustain revenue but restructure. The overlap in the goal is that they want to be able to reach their full potential as a leader and with the talents and skills that they have, and they know that they can't keep going the way that they are. They know that the way that they've built their business has been with a lot more hustle, has taken a lot away from them. And so it's important that we prioritize sustainability and longevity. With a higher price point, you can deliver better quality. Better quality means that you're going to get more referrals. It means you're going to get better results. And so that's going to keep you in business. A couple of other reasons why you really need to raise your prices. So, attracting ideal clients. So many of us are worried again about that accessibility and like filtering people out as if it's a bad thing. You want to filter people out. You don't want people who are not going to show up and do the work. No matter what industry you're in, if you're providing a service, you need some level, you want to have good clients that do either what you're advising them to do, or refer you people, or get results because they're taking whatever your service or your product is and actually applying it. You want good clients, and good clients are usually the people who are willing to invest in a way that, and that pricing is going to look different for everybody, but it is an exchange energetically and with money that then becomes like, okay, I paid this, so now I have skin in the game, and so I want to actually do this. I don't have clients who just like don't show up to calls or don't do what I advise them to do, because they know like, I'm paying this price, and so I'm going to do what she says so I can get these results. And so we need to change our mindset around like filtering people out, and that's a good thing, because when you filter those people out, you're also filtering the right people in. And last but not least, when you raise your prices, there is an increase in your confidence and your ability to really set the boundaries that you need to succeed long term. When you charge what you're worth, it actually reinforces the boundaries that you have. Charging whatever your price is that is higher than you're probably comfortable with is really how you are going to boost your confidence in your business and your life, and be able to see like, I can deliver at this level, and I can get these results for my clients, and I can feel really good about it, and I can feel like this is an even exchange, because I want to pour in more because I'm getting that back from them. and it feels more even. If you're undercharging, there's going to be a level of resentment that you feel because you're not getting the same exchange back that you're putting in. So that's really why you need to raise your prices. All right, so we know why we typically don't raise our prices, and we know now why we need to. So, how do we do this? How do we do this in a way that is ethical, that is sustainable? And I think a lot of people get this like jolt of realization and they're like, okay, yes, I'm going to raise my prices. And then instantly fear sets in from everything that I talked about in the beginning of the episode. And then we're like, okay, never mind, or maybe I'll do it later. And so I think there's a really good balance of what our central nervous system is prepared for based upon stretching ourselves to a level of discomfort that is not so far away that we then won't sell it. So a really great example of this is I had a business coach once who was phenomenal. I've had 5 coaches and 3 of them were really great. And she was one of them. I loved her. I planned on continuing when our contract was up. And long story short, her pricing went from $2,500 a month to $5,000 a month. And it was such a jolt to me to double the pricing that I just couldn't justify it. I think that if she would have raised it to maybe $3,000 a month, maybe even $3,500, that would have felt like, okay, well, my profits have increased. I know that she's great. I want to stay with her. That feels like I can continue. But because it was so big, it was an instant no for me. And so when you're thinking about raising your prices, you want to find that balance between, okay, this feels a tad bit uncomfortable and I'm a little bit afraid. But it doesn't feel like, okay, this is way too big and I cannot see myself selling this. When we're raising our confidence, it comes over time and with repetition. So if you raise your rates, depending on what you do, right? This is dependent from industry to industry. But let's say for like my chiropractors that I have, we'll do things like raise their adjustment prices $5, right? And so it's not a giant increase, but since they are more of a quantity based business and see a large amount of patients, it not only gives them more revenue, but it also is enough revenue for if there is any sort of percentage of fall off from people who don't want to pay that added expense, it also still is a net gain. And so that's something to think about is like when you're raising your prices, you might lose people, but will it be a net gain that will allow you to offer higher quality service to maybe a lower amount of people while also giving you more profit? So I want you to assess what your current pricing is. And in that assessment, recognize what are the things that you're offering that you recognize that you're over delivering. And also think about if you want to change the structure of offerings. In price increases, there are times where if you're going to increase the price, you also need to increase the value. A great example of this is my private partnership. So when I raised my rates, I think it was about a year and a half ago, what I did when I raised them is I added an in-person VIP day. This was like almost 3 years. Anyways, not important details for the story. But when I made this decision, I was like, I want to create something that nobody else is doing, that feels very exclusive, that feels very in depth. And so for me, getting in person with my people needed to be something that was prioritized. And when I thought about coaching and consulting as a whole, I feel like a lot of time gets wasted in the first portion of working together where you're just like learning about each other and learning the business. And I'm like, what if I fast track that by learning everything about their business, by doing a full assessment, having them fill out an assessment, and then spending a full day with them, building from that assessment, getting clear on their goals, and creating initial action steps. And so that's the process when somebody signs for private partnership with me. They're doing a full assessment, and then I'm spending that full day in person with them. And then I also added a 4-night retreat. And so, yes, my private partnership at this point is $3,550 a month. But you're not just getting me as your coach and calls with me, and between call support, you're also getting this full VIP day and you're getting this retreat. It's just bundled all into one. And so there is a time in which if you're going to increase your pricing, the value needs to match at the end of the day. There are a lot of coaches and consultants who charge high ticket prices who don't give high ticket results. And I just don't believe in that. My pricing for what I do is actually very fair, but it feels fair to me and it feels aligned to me. And that's the thing about pricing. That being said, I do plan on increasing my rates. So if you want to join me in my private partnership, there is a wait list right now. Or if you want to join inside my mastermind, please send me a message. I can send you application links, and we can talk and make sure you're a good fit and which way would be better for you. Because when we're talking about price increase, there is a level of like, you increase, you almost have to prove to yourself, okay, I can do this, I'm delivering on this value. And then you can increase because you're still gathering, you're growing, right? For me, I have grown so much personally and professionally, and it's been a couple of years since I raised my pricing. And so it's time for me to do that. So you need to assess your current pricing, assess your current offers, see if the structure needs to change within any of your offers, address where you may be over giving or over delivering, assess if there's a place that just doesn't feel aligned. And that's really like with my private partnership and adding the retreat, and my mastermind also gets a retreat. I just felt like that in-person community and including that instead of making it a separate offer was something that created exclusivity and also creates the community and network that people really need. And so really to just raise your prices and be confident about those prices, you want to make sure that every service offering that you have is aligned with the way that it's structured and the value that is inside it. And then you want to find that cusp, that line that feels a little bit uncomfortable to you to charge. And then you want to meet yourself there, and you want to let yourself spend some time there and get comfortable with that. Allow yourself to see, okay, I am worthy of charging this and I am getting client results, and this feels safe to charge this much. And I want you to be able to stand in your pricing and understand that as a business owner, you always have flexibility around your pricing to create things that are custom. But I really don't want you to ever discount your rates, because if you do that, it's usually coming from a place of scarcity. And if it's coming from a place of scarcity, then it's going to create, again, that resentment, because you're going to bring somebody in that energy of scarcity. And then you're going to feel like, okay, I brought them in because I just needed somebody so badly. And it wasn't under the emphasis of, I brought this person in because I know that I can really help them and I am aligned with this person and I know that I can get them results with what I do. And so you're raising your prices confidently because you believe in yourself, you believe in what you're offering, you are structuring your offers to where they are valuable and you know the value of your offers. And then you're going to make sure that you stand firm and create boundaries with yourself and with others by not discounting your services. If you get pushback and if you get pricing objections, there are so many people that will tell you different things about pricing objections. And There are gentle ways to handle those that are ethical, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't be begging somebody to pay you. If somebody genuinely cannot afford it, then they can't afford it. If you have an option that they can afford that would actually help them, that is different than just discounting your rates, right? And so you can still be accessible by creating a variety of offers and services without discounting or devaluing yourself, and just making sure that the level that you are receiving is matching the level that you are giving. So I hope this is giving you a lot to think about today and a lot of insight into why you need to raise your prices and why this matters. If you have questions, if you want to talk through what your services are, if you want to talk through your specific industry, because I have clients across all industries. If you want to talk through like industry specifics, if you want to talk through what you feel like you need, and every time you raise your prices, any conversations around this, my DMs are always open to you guys. And I love when you message me and just tell me, any takeaways you have from the episode. So I appreciate you guys listening. If you need links to my free freedom framework, if you need links to my application for private partnership, or if you're looking to join my mastermind with other mom business owners, you can check the show notes below and all those links will be there for you. So thanks guys for being here, and I'll talk to you next week.